Hello everybody, it is time for another Q&A with the developers. This is the part 2 to last week's Q&A. So this is Ask a Pirate Day 8, and the focus on this one is PvP, and it starts off with the new Lawless land claim changes. So basically we are getting a patch early next week where the developers will be introducing a new claim system to the Lawless regions of Atlas. So this is just regarding the Lawless regions of the game. They say that moving forward, Pathfinders will now be able to claim land in these areas using a claim tower that will claim everything within its radius after it reaches full health. This takes about 45 minutes and may be sped up with gold. These changes will take effect immediately with the release of the new update and will make your structures be vulnerable to being claimed by others. So just to be clear, when this update hits, all of your stuff will be vulnerable and people will be able to place a claim tower down and claim it if you don't get there first. Takes about 45 minutes. Armored docks may also be claimed in this matter, and that includes the ships docked there. So really important information. If you are on a Lawless island, you need to get online and put your claim flag down or claim tower down so that you do not lose your things. They continue by saying, previously we mentioned that there may be a wipe with the new claim system if it becomes necessary. However, we are able to implement this without requiring it, so please note that there is no wipe at this time. And for those of you who do run a private server, or if you play on a private servers will be unaffected by this change. Functionality to make this change to your server will come in the patch after. So if you are a Lawless player or a solo player, a lone wolf, or just a small company trying to get a foothold on Lawless Islands, this might be a little bit of a setback for you if you can't get online. Well, I should say this could be a huge setback for you if you can't get online at the time that these claim towers drop. And if you can get online to do this, I suggest you have a pocket full of gold ready to go so that you can speed up the process, as they say can be done. I'm not sure how much gold is required to speed up the process, but yeah, if you want to keep your stuff on lock, do that. So just to recap, we are getting a new Lawless land claim system, and the old claim system is remaining the same on all other islands that are not Lawless. If you are living on a Lawless island, you will need to place a claim tower around not only your base, but also make sure you get your shipyard in there as well so that you do not lose your ship docked in it. Alright, I hope I made that very clear so that no one is surprised when this happens. I hate seeing people lose their stuff in survival games when it's not through viable PvP, so there you go. Next up, we're going to get into the Q&A, which was focused on player versus player interactions. The first question touches on the balance of island defense, specifically, if we suddenly had to think very carefully about structure count throughout the island, how are companies going to keep themselves properly protected without leaning on structure count? The developers answer by saying, we agree that islands are incredibly hard to assault right now when facing an entrenched, knowledgeable defender. There are a variety of reasons for this, from the layout of the islands, such as massive pillars, to unintended strategies such as spamming structures all over the place to prevent others from building or bringing in tames easily. We are focused on long-term solutions rather than quick fixes. Ideally, we want players to be forced into making choices about how they spend their limited resources. This means they should have to pick which places they're going to spend their effort to defend. The answer should not be that they can defend everything. We're moving towards a game where you need to have a strong navy if you want to defend your shoreline. So to me, this ties in with their new ship system and how every type of ship should belong in a fleet that has a specific purpose, and I'm guessing defense of your shoreline and base will be one of those. As well as the fact that it was mentioned in the last Q&A that structures might be changing a little bit. They might be getting a little bit bigger and bulkier. Instead of having tons of structures you can spam, we're going to be reduced to bigger building pieces. Alright, the next question is about Cannonball Physics, which states that the Cannonball Physics are pretty bad and that it's really easy to outrun cannonballs when you're on one of the larger or faster ships. The developers answer with, shooting any of the ship-mounted weapons forwards results in some unrealistic behaviors that we'd like to eliminate. We are looking at solutions for this. The next question touches on alliances. Are alliances going to get reduced again? The developers answer with, Atlas is about interactions, both positive and negative, with other players and companies. We would like those stories to be told and dictated by players rather than by a heavy-handed developer approach. This means giving players lots of opportunities to cooperate and fight over limited resources. A single megacorp is not good for the game, and yet we have large goals for companies in mind that will require massive efforts for many players to accomplish. Keep listening, and we'll be talking about those plans soon enough. In the meantime, we do not plan to mess with the balance of companies and alliances without fully addressing the overall ecosystem. The next question is about the lone wolf or smaller companies. What are some more solo experience grinding opportunities the team is looking at so smaller companies don't get left in the dust with no way to catch up? The developers answer with, "This is a great question. We really want to support lone wolves and small companies as a vital part of the game world. Compared to a lot of the other games we have played or worked on, Atlas experience seems to be in a really weird place and is frankly pretty broken. Large organized death squads farm ridiculous amounts of experience with little real effort and hit level cap within a few days of a wipe, while players who are new or are in small companies are playing what feels like a completely different game. This creates a lot of power disparity between different groups of players and contributes to making it very difficult for players not in companies to feel like they can compete. Experience is like a holdover from RPGs that this game has inherited, and it's tied into a lot of different systems in the game. We want new players to have their options slowly rolled out to them so they aren't overwhelmed, and at the same time we don't want to create a grindy experience for veterans. Ultimately, we'd rather this game be focused on player expertise rather than character level, and long-term are looking at how we can move towards that. Some of the specific things we are considering are ways to spread leveling out over the entire season while not making it grindy, or giving tools to everyone to get to the level cap early and creating more ways to increase your cap through actions in the game that are interesting and again not grindy. Let us know your thoughts." So they do acknowledge that they want lone wolves and small companies to be a part of the game world and to have its place in the game world, but they did also mention in the question above that they have really huge goals that are going to require big companies to complete. So it looks like you are going to have a huge difference in gameplay, as we all know, if you decide to play as a lone wolf or a small company versus a large mega company. But it does sound like they're not limiting alliances, so if you are a small company or lone wolf, you could always ally up with a larger company so that you can get that bigger goal content done. And our last question, will there be more options in ship PvP? Yes, one of the goals of the new ship system is to provide players with more meaningful choices when constructing ships. As we expand the system, players will need to decide which pieces will provide the most value for their strategy. We intend to provide a variety of equally viable options that expand the meta and support a variety of playstyles. So that just touched really quickly on the new ship building system, and honestly, I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like having the old ship system with the new ship system in play. They're both going to be available in the Atlas world, as the last Q&A told us. I don't know how they are thinking that players are going to want to choose the new ships over the old ships because the old ships simply are so versatile, and we've all grown to kind of love them. Going to be really interesting to see how the numbers play out as far as how many players go for the old ships versus the new ones, or how long the old ones stick around for that matter. So that was just the quick PvP section of the Q&A. This is Ask a Pirate number 8. I want to hear what you all think. Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget about the new Lawless land claim changes if you have structures, ships, or shipyards on Lawless islands. Try and plan it out if you can. As I said, your stuff will all be vulnerable when that patch hits. You will need to put down a new claim tower in order to maintain ownership of all of that, or else it could be stolen by someone else. Very valid worries here as far as the new claim system goes, but we're just going to have to see how it plays out. As always, the links to my socials are in the description box down below. I hope you all are enjoying your games, particularly if you are still playing Atlas. That is it for me on this Q&A. I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.